everyone should feel confident about their path forward. Exact Sciences is now Abbott, and together they transform the way cancer is detected, diagnosed, and managed for more people around the world. They continue to help patients and healthcare providers make timely, informed decisions before, during, and after a cancer diagnosis by partnering with the industry's best minds and top institutions to transform how to approach cancer. Known for the Cologuard and Oncotype DX tests, allow Abbott to help make a positive impact in your health path forward. Learn more at abbott.com.
Well, it's a day off for the Brewers following their sweep of the Cubs the last few days. They've now won 11 of the last 13 games and are sitting a game and a half up on Chicago and St. Louis for first place in the NL Central. They'll get another big series going tomorrow night when the Dodgers come to American Family Field for the first time since the NLCS last October. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Brewers an out away from winning all three here at the friendly confines.
Struck him out looking, and the Brewers sweep the Cubs at Wrigley.
And they sweep the Cubs for the first time since August of 2021.
Frustrating night at the ballpark, a frustrating beginning to this homestand as the Brewers come in and sweep the Cubs.
But I'm happy for the guys. I've said it all year. I trust these guys. They have high expectations of themselves, and we have high standards. So hopefully a weekend like this gives them some confidence.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
It's the final out last night, and Pat Murphy's reaction to the Brewers sweeping the Cubs at Wrigley for the first time since 2021, which should have been, if memory serves, late that season in August. That would have been after they had traded away Rizzo, Baez. I think they traded away everyone but Wilson Contreras, right, that season? It was 5 years ago since the Brewers have swept the Cubs at Wrigley. A really significant result the last three nights. Not just that the Brewers swept them, but they stuffed it down their throat. So that's where we'll start tonight. I know, a really baseball-heavy week, and I hear from some listeners about that. It's like, oh my God, enough baseball. Well, guys, what do you want from me? It's baseball season. We're waiting for Packers OTAs to start. We'll get there. I'll mix in some Giannis news today, a little NFL news as well, but we're going to be pretty baseball-heavy again. This is a series certainly worth talking about. If the Brewers had won 2 or 3, thumbs up. That's a nice result. The Brewers sweep, 2 thumbs up. Really nice result. Sweeping them the way that they did, and then last night, shutting them out 5-0, and the final line for the Cubs, 0 runs, 2 hits, 3 errors. Like, it's not just how they won, which was a sweep, and it's not just how they swept. It's that they kind of gave it to them. And I say kind of to be polite. So that's where we'll start tonight. I'll take your Brewers phone calls and your calls on anything else you want to discuss. It's a pretty wide open show if you're familiar. 608-321-1670. Would love to have you as a part of the show. No guest tonight, so we'll have plenty of time. Now, the live stream is up and running, the video simulcast of the show. Don't need to. It's not like there's too many crazy bells and whistles on the live stream that you can't just get, of course, listening on the radio or listening to the live stream on our app. However, I do have some graphics. This is going to be a graphic heavy first segment because we're going to compare some players and some contracts because I think that's the story of Brewers Cubs. I want to compare the managers, and we can compare lots of different things between these two teams and talk about the Brewers and the way they handle their business. Certainly, there's no shortage of angles and shortage of, we talk about this player, this position, or this part of the team, or this way they have. There's no shortage of angles here. But the angle that interests me most, I think there's some direct parallels in last night's game. One that I mentioned at the very end of last night's show, right as we were kind of wrapping up, I said, tonight's extra interesting to me because it's Kyle Harrison versus Edward Cabrera. Edward Cabrera was the player that the Cubs paid a hefty price to acquire this offseason, okay? And I looked this up before the show because I wanted to make sure I have this correct. I believe that last night when we talked about this, I said, so Edward Cabrera, the pitcher that the Cubs acquired to be their ace, at least in the absence of Justin Steele, who's probably their ace, and Cade Horton, who's their young stud. But those guys are hurt. So Edward Cabrera was the guy they paid a nice hefty price for. This is what they did. The Marlins trade with the Cubs is complete. This is Craig Mish's tweet. He covers the Marlins. This is back from January. Miami will receive top prospect Owen Casey from the Cubs in the Cabrera trade. It will also get infielder Christian Hernandez and I don't know if it's a pitcher. No. Infield, corner infield position, corner infielder, Edgardo De Leon, who is 18. He's kind of the lottery ticket. So it was a 3-for-1 deal, and I wanted to make sure I had this correct. Owen Casey was their number 1 prospect in their system, their number 2 prospect in their system. It's weird because I get different numbers probably from different publications, but their top guy, right? And Hernandez was the Cubs' 10th best prospect. Casey was a top 50 prospect in all baseball. I think Hernandez was a top 100. But the point is, the Cubs pulled a big-time baseball trade to go get this cat. This wasn't a random guy. This wasn't Freddie Peralta acquired it, as a part of a bigger deal, turned out to work. No. They targeted this guy. He was a big offseason piece that a lot of teams were looking at. They paid big for him to come in and be their stopper, and he's been fine at best, disappointing or bad at his worst. I think his last 3 or 4 starts you could liken to Freddie Peralta when Freddie Peralta's not all that great. Like, yeah, he'll get through 5, but he'll give up some hits and throw a lot of pitches. It's not as dominating as you would want for the price that you paid. Well, I know Edward Cabrera got hurt last night. He finished 3 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, but that's kind of been an extension of who he's been. He hasn't exactly been great. Now, maybe it's because he was working through a blister issue or an injury, but the point remains is he hasn't been any good. And the Cubs paid, dollars on the penny, if you will. I mean, that was a big-time offseason deal. Going for the Brewers last night, Kyle Harrison, who was acquired in a trade not for the Brewers' top prospect, not for a Brewers' top 5 or top 10 prospect, but for Caleb Durbin, who was a nifty little third baseman last year. I say little literally because he's small. Not very toolsy, not a lot of ceiling. Nice utility infielder. And I thought he'd be a nice, helpful player for Boston because I thought they needed a little bit of this. They need a little contact. They need a little hit and run. They need a little bit of that. Well, turns out they need a lot, and Caleb Durbin hasn't been nearly what I thought. He's hitting like 160-something. The Brewers gave up Caleb Durbin and Andrew Monasterio, who is Owen Miller, who is Hernan Pera. I don't care about Andrew Monasterio. You can find those guys. In fact, the Brewers got one back for to boot in David Hamilton. So the Brewers guy was acquired for what I am likening to infield slop, which is probably disrespectful to Caleb Durbin, but what do you want? He's hitting 160, trying to be polite. That's how the Brewers acquired their guy last night, paying pennies on the dollar compared to what the Cubs paid for those guys. And Kyle Harrison has been absolutely outstanding. I was reading Rosiak's story this afternoon about exactly how good he's been. 11 strikeouts. At one point, he retired 15 in a row. If you listen to I keep mixing up their names. Kyle Harrison. If you listen to any of his post-game press conference last night, he basically talked about, Nico hit a double off me to lead off the game, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to come after guys, and I'm going to throw my fastball at a level that I haven't really, because what the heck, the wind's blowing in, and I'm going to let the defense make plays, and then he just took off, and the game was over. I mean, he made a mid-game adjustment in the first inning. So a tactical pitcher with great stuff. As Craig Counsell said, the fastball sneaks up on you, it gets by you, it's deceptive. So the Cubs paying, let's say, $100 for their starter. I think the Brewers paying $20 or $30 for theirs. The Brewers starter is way better. Not just last night, but all season. I think it's a big part of the story, the Brewers-Cubs story. I'll give you another example. In this offseason, the Cubs signed Alex Bregman, big-time deal. 5-year, $175 million deal with the Cubs. And not just was it a big free agency deal. I'll read you a little bit from Jeff Passan. This is back in January when he signed. He signed during the Packers game. It was announced during the Packers-Bears game. Bregman opted out of a $40 million player option with the Red Sox to hit free agency. And after the Cubs fell short of landing him in 2025, they offered Bregman a club record $35 million a year to secure his services. The deal has no opt-outs and includes a full no-trade clause. The Cubs gave this guy the full banana. And at the time, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Good leader, so people say around baseball. Has won at a high level, won a World Series with the Astros. That's a player who should be a real nice addition to the Cubs lineup. Well, did he go over last night? Not trying to just pick on last night's game, but folks, last night's game was kind of the same as the night before and the night before. Bregman did have a hit last night. One of the Cubs' 2 hits. He's hitting .249 on the year. Bregman hasn't really been all that good. Well, which player getting it done for the Brewers right now? What about one of their big offseason signings or re-signings? I read you from Todd Rosiak, Friday, November 21st. The deadline to tender contracts to arbitration-eligible players came and went. No surprises from the Brewers. All in all, 7 players fit that designation, with the Brewers ultimately coming to terms with first baseman outfielder Jake Bauers on a 1-year contract with a reported $2.7 million. Alex Bregman, $35 million, no options, full no trade. And then Jake Bauers, $2.7 million, 1 year. Lots of team flexibility moving forward. Not stuck in anything. Compare the stats for Jake Bauers and Alex Bregman. I don't expect this to be the case the entire season, but to this point in the season, that's what we're talking about through last night's series. The only statistics in which Alex Bregman is leading Jake Bauers, and if you're watching the simulcast, you'll see it from StatHead, games, plate appearances, and hits. Jake Bauers has 3 more home runs, doubled them up in RBIs. He's got more stolen bases, for whatever that's worth. Batting average about 50 points higher, slugging at a much higher clip, almost twice the clip. Not quite, but almost twice. OPS plus, significantly higher. I mean, this is what we're talking about. It's not just that the Brewers, they put the ball in play and they move them over and they get them in and they steal bases and they don't strike out and their swing decisions are good. Like, yeah. And their pitching lab is good and they know how to develop guys. They know how to take a pitcher and identify a strength or a weakness to mitigate or to highlight. Yeah, they're good at all that stuff. I was listening to a little bit of Sam Olver this morning, and I think he made the point that, well, the Brewers are just better at this baseball thing than most teams. They're better at spending what limited money they have. They're better at using what limited trade resources they have. And I don't know that they'll ultimately win the division this year. It's a long season, and the Cubs, I still believe, have a ton of talent. I think there's a lot of blue chip talent on that team. Now they're to the point with their pitching staff, they're so banged up. It's really going to be difficult. The Cubs could still win this division. I wouldn't bet on it, but they absolutely could. But over the last 3 games, like, wasn't it so apparent? Like, oh, the Cubs paid 10x for this guy and he sucks, and the Brewers paid 2x for this guy and he's playing out of his mind. Well, Grant, Jake Bauers isn't going to do that all year. Okay, probably not, but like, have we even seen the best version of Churio yet? Vaughn just got back. He's a part-time player. Like, yeah, Jake Bauers will probably cool down, but then who's going to get, somebody else will get hot. There'll be another Jake Bauers on the team. We'll have his 3 or 4 weeks in the sun. It's like the Brewers are just better at the baseball thing. And I know that everyone talks about Pat Murphy and the Brewers and it's small ball and moving runners over and swing decisions. And this, by the way, came up in Craig Counsell's press conference last night. These are important tenets of the way the Brewers play baseball, but they're better at finding these players and developing these players and coaching these players. It's not just a matter of, well, you just put the ball in play and run, David Hamilton, although it worked last night. Thanks to PCA for booting another ball. I don't get it with PCA. We talked about this on yesterday's show with Kurt. It's like, he's the best defensive center fielder in baseball, so they say. I don't know. I don't understand defensive metrics to know whether that's true or not. But then why does he have a gag every time they play the Brewers? This series he had 2. And I think it's a little bit of an oversimplification, again, to my point, to just say the Brewers, they put the ball in play and they run. They run like rabbits. Here's a question in Craig Counsell's press conference last night. Zach Heilprin and I, our sports director, we were laughing at this earlier today.
Different year, but the same team. When you look at their style, is kind of unique with making contact, stealing bases, barely swinging at anything outside of the strike zone. That tendency to make pitchers better. Is that kind of the formula that you helped create years ago?
They're a good team and they're playing well.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Let me translate that for Craig. Hey, why don't you F off, okay? That was a Jason Wilde special right there. 20-second question. Craig, the Brewers, different team, different year, but they certainly look to be much of the same. They put the ball in play. They don't strike out. They swing at the right pitches. They pitch their ass off. They do all the right things. They develop pitching. Craig, is this the type of team? Is this the type of baseball that you kind of were helping to develop when you were there? Were you a part of this once upon a time?
They're a good team and they're playing well.
Yeah. Why don't you F off? They're a good team and playing well. Next question, please.
They're a good team and they're playing well.
I was laughing my ass off at that earlier today. That I will translate that. I speak Craig. Wait, why don't you shut up? That's what that is.
They're a good team and they're playing well.
They're a good team and they're playing well. Next question. We'll hear a little bit more from Counsell at the bottom of the hour because we're comparing the two off seasons that these teams had, because I think both off seasons are representative of the way these two organizations and these operations kind of run their business, acquire talent, spend their resources. I want to compare the managers. We're going to do that later on in the show because I think there's a clear difference between Pat Murphy, Craig Counsell, the way they speak, the way they operate. And that's interesting to me. But I'll take your calls next. The Brewers just pounding the Cubs the last 3 games. It's not just that they won the series, which they swept. It's not just that they swept the series. It's how they swept. Like, I can't think of a louder sweep than the one I just watched. And it culminates last night. The Cubs finished 0 runs, 2 hits, 3 errors. Like, come on, man. So your calls on the Brewers next. 608-321-1670.
They're a good team and they're playing well.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I work for Pella because I know it's a company that builds and installs a quality product. The people that I meet, the stories that I hear, it's really one of my favorite parts of this job.
That's really it. I love being able to walk hand in hand with customers throughout the whole process from start to finish.
Entry doors. When you show of what their future entry door looks like and you get that big smile, that's just one of the best feelings.
Get the look you want for the home you love with 0% financing options available. Visit PellaWI.com today.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
I'd go in those locker rooms, and the thing about Counsell is you never get too high and you never get too low. And for a while, that's fine, but you got to get like higher than nothing. And I think the team really at the end there started to take on his, oh, it's whatever. You're seeing that. I think like this is his old team. This is the Milwaukee Brewers coming down, punking your ass in 3 games, and you do what with it? Nothing.
That's the thing. If you told me, all right, you don't have Steele, you don't have Horton, Cabrera got a blister, Matt Boyd tore up his knee, so he's out for another 3 or 4 weeks, and we lost 8-6, okay, we'll ride through it, but the offense is trying. We have a really good defensive club. No. We were your bitch for the last 3 days. We got punked. Absolutely punked.
David Kaplan on earlier today. That's on Into the Winkler first. Our friend Bart Winkler. It was a really good interview. Recommend you go. They talk a little Bears-Packers too. Craig Counsell, obviously former Milwaukee guy. So Bart and Kaplan talking about that. I play that cut because it's funny. It's entertaining. I like Bart. I like his podcast. Gets us back into our segment, but also accentuates, I think, there's a million takeaways from the series. But first and foremost is, my God, they kind of took a big fat dump on the Cubs. It's not, you can have a sweep that's, oh, Brewers played really well and the Cubs had injuries. What do you want? But this is more than that. The line last night, the Cubs at home trying to salvage. By the way, Cubs at home, where they've been nearly unbeatable this season, trying to salvage a series last night. 0 runs, 2 hits, 3 errors. Come on. 608-321-1670. Some of your Brewers phone calls here. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant, it's Corey out of Marshall. How you looking?
I'm looking great.
Looking great. Yeah, the last 3 games, it kind of reminded me of, I don't know, you've probably seen that meme of when Michael Irvin has got the belt, taking it to the wall at the University of Miami game. That was reminding me of what Pat Murphy was doing to Craig Counsell. He was just beating that wall.
I mean,
he
was
again.
on it. If you want to talk about tactical managing in game, challenging that play at third base, challenging the catcher's interference, as ticky-tack as it was, he's just on it. Yeah.
So I've been pissing and moaning at times about their lack of power on the left-hand side of the infield, which I'll keep doing because that's all right.
Fair.
As Brewers fans. But to your point, though, I mean, they pantsed the Red Sox. I can't believe they haven't kind of strung that guy up by the feet out there for giving up reputable baseball players, it seems, for a 5'6" third baseman that had one good season and a couple of utility players. Because that's basically what they did, which is usually it feels like after that Suppan signing years and years ago, it feels like us as Brewers fans have been on the other side of these things where we're not selling guys at their highest point or getting guys that are on the come up per se.
Mm-hmm.
We're usually getting guys past their sell by date, which I think Alex Bregman, I think he's 35, 34. I can't remember how old he is, but guys at that age typically don't get better through the season. So I think, them getting rid of Kyle Tucker down there and trying to replace him with Alex Bregman, bold call on their part, but I don't know if they're gonna make it, to be honest. So
maybe not.
It'll be a long season. I have a good feeling if the Brewers can get their third base and just kind of left side of the infield kind of squared away, could be really cooking with some gas. So I'll let you get going, Rand.
Appreciate it, Corey. They might not. I don't know. It's a long season. The Cubs are really talented. They could get it going. They might win the division. I don't know. Alex Bregman's 32, so not that old, but I think it's one of those contracts you sign where it's all right, it's probably not going to be great on the back end, but the Cubs are good for it. They have the money. And if I was a Cubs fan, I'd say, good, go spend the money on Alex Bregman and go make the trade for Edward Cabrera. Go do these things. If I was a Cubs fan, I'd look at Counts and I'd be like, hey, man, can you do a little bit more with this? Went and got a stud pitcher this offseason. Went and got a big bat. I know their pitching's hurt. So the pitching's difficult, but weirdly, that's been the part of the team that's been less disappointing. The offense has been inept. I think the lineup is, I don't know. Baseball's a weird sport, but I look at that lineup, I'm like, you guys shouldn't be asleep for weeks at a time, which is what it feels like under Counsell. So I'm not going to fault Tom Ricketts and Jed Hoyer for going to spend the money on Bregman and making a trade for, Cabrera. That's what other teams have to do. My team doesn't have to do that because we'll just trade Slop for Kyle Harrison and he'll be awesome. And we'll keep our top prospects. But I'm a Brewers fan, so other teams have to do things like this. I wouldn't fault them. I'd look at the coaching staff and say, hey, what are we paying you for, Craig? 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant. It's Clemhead Mike from Chippewa.
Clemhead, what a good week of baseball conversations we've been able to have.
I know I was going to watch. I told you yesterday I was going to watch it or listen to it in my garage on the radio, but I really wanted to see Harrison pitch, so I watched it in the man cave. But I did drink the prerequisite number of beers. So, then what I got a joke for you or a quiz for you. What do Pete Crow Armstrong and Michael Jackson have in common?
Oh, I'm not sure.
They both wear a glove in one hand for no apparent reason.
That's really good. I wasn't sure where that was going. The glove humor is acceptable. That plays. That's funny. Yeah, and look, I think he's a tremendous defender. Sometimes I think some of the metrics are overplayed, but what I don't get is how can you be such a good defender and like without fail, once a summer against your rival, have the biggest misplay ever in the field? I don't quite get it.
He loses concentration or something. Like I swear he wasn't looking down at the ball. He was looking. I think he was looking at the runner. It may have been that, like where wide receivers look at the defender and they try to run before they catch the ball. Something like that. Maybe he just lost his concentration. He's probably pretty good, but and then another thing I wanted to say is, don't the general managers ever learn? You never, ever trade with the Milwaukee Brewers. You're going to get pantsed and you're going to look stupid. So it's just us as Brewers fans, we're enjoying the heck out of this. But these other fan bases, and then you're playing those radio bits from Chicago stations. These guys they're telling the truth. They're honest, but they know they're getting whipped by a much lower cost team, and it's eating them up inside. But and my last point is listening to Craig Counsell may cause drowsiness. Do not listen to Craig Counsell while driving or operating heavy machinery. So
you're telling me. And Clemhead, I appreciate you. Have a good night. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Thank you. Good glove joke. I wasn't sure where we were. A lot of Michael Jackson biopics, and now we're doing. Now it's like, well, the biopic didn't talk about the kid stuff, so now I see there's a documentary coming about the kid stuff. And when you had that joke setting up, Clemhead, I was concerned, but you landed the plane. That's good humor. If I was a Chicago radio host, I'd be beside myself with Craig. It's the same thing after every game. We're in a rut right now for sure. It's up for us. It's up to us to get out of it. It's like, is there any life behind those eyes? Like, yeah, I'd be losing my mind with Counsell if I was a Chicago radio person too. Absolutely. And you might be right about trading with the Brewers. I might become more difficult for the Brewers to make trades because teams aren't going to want to deal with them. But there are a lot of dumb teams out there, Clemhead. You stay strong. The Red Sox might not be willing. Craig Breslow is probably not going to last too much longer over there, but there's plenty of dumb teams around Major League Baseball. Lots to pick on. 608-321-1670. One more call here. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant Bills. What a sweep.
Cone roller. This is excellent. Outstanding week.
It really just could not be any better for like mid-May. Not much going on right now. And for this week to happen, just so much content, PCA, clown, just Chicago radio, Chicago's fans just really going at Counsell. It just really couldn't be better. I love this Milwaukee Brewers team, and we rule this diamond, as the great Eddie J. Lemberger coined.
We rule this diamond. I don't know if you were to tell me, look, there's no Packers going on, and Cone OTAs I think start next week, or next week I believe. Nothing with the Bucks, all quiet over there, although we're going to talk Giannis later on in the show. There's nothing going on. How could you get the juiciest, best result, Packers-Cubs? I would have said, well, we'd love to sweep, right? But even I don't think I would have been able to imagine such a thorough ass-kicking. Like, I don't know that I've seen a series like this in a while.
Yeah, Kyle Harrison, Miz, just like wild cards, but, they're playing like aces lately. I just love it. It is... Clemhead said it best, like they're must-watch TV whenever they get up. And Kyle Harrison, very unassuming, but just stud.
I loved watching his little locker room interview afterwards. Just very, chill. I'll give you a little bit of what Rosiak wrote about it here after or before we take our break. But it reminds me a lot of 2019 when I remember myself rushing home from work after the show because, well, Freddie's going tonight. I want to watch him, or Burns before he got sent down, or Woodruff. Like, you just have this group of exciting young pitchers that make you want to turn in and watch the game because you want to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, and like I'm so sick of this week hearing about this damn wind at Wrigley Field. Like, it's going to save your season. Like, imagine needing home runs to win baseball games. Like, are the Cubs just wind merchants?
Or, well, they might be. Or, Cohen, I'll do you one better. Imagine needing for the ball to leave the ballpark in order to hit home runs. It's not a problem the Brewers had last night.
Yeah, that was just like cherry on top. Awesome. Like, just like chef's kiss. Amazing. There's nothing more to be said.
I appreciate it, Cohen. Nice to hear from you. It'd been a couple days. I was worried.
Yeah, absolutely. Up in Canada. So, I don't know if I can call on the Wisco Sports Show. They might be listening.
Well, before I appreciate it, Cohen. Before too long, I see we're talking statehood again. So maybe before too long, that'll be okay. The funniest thing to me about the PCA gaff and the Little League home run is it wouldn't have even mattered. Like if PCA fields that cleanly and throws the ball in, I guess we never know what happens in another universe where that happens. The Brewers win 5-0. The Cubs only have 2 hits. It wouldn't have mattered. Oh, PCA, he's got to be better than that. Okay, so the Brewers win 3-0 instead of 5. Like, it was that dominant of an ass kicking where even the biggest gaffe the Cubs made, it's like, who cares? It wouldn't have mattered. This is what Rosiak said about Harrison. Kyle Harrison received instant feedback from Nico Horner, and he paid heed. After seeing the Cubs leadoff man belt a 5th pitch slider to left field, the Brewers left-hander immediately knew it was time to switch up tactics, meaning more four-seam fastballs, a season-high 64 over the course of the game that ultimately rendered the Northsiders' normally high-powered offense impotent. Harrison absolutely dominated over 7 innings, retiring 15 straight batters at one point and striking out 11 to punctuate a statement series by the Brewers' 5-0 shutout, first ever sweep since 2021. Here's a quote from Harrison. Honestly, that first hitter let me know it wasn't a good slider. Wind's blowing in. Let's attack these guys and let them hit some flyouts. Contreras was on the same page with me. Hey, the ball's in the air today, so kept attacking with a heater and tried to stay ahead. Hey, you're going to battle with the right guy if you're looking to throw fastballs. Contreras will keep calling for them, which is why I think Patrick is better in the bullpen. He can throw more heaters and fewer slurves, which Contreras, that matches Contreras. Contreras and any pitcher on a fastball heavier day, that's going to be a good matchup. I want to compare managers next, but seeing the Chicago radio cuts seem to be well received. Here's one to just kind of send us into break. We'll compare Murphy and Counsell after the break, but this is David Kaplan again on Bart's podcast, Into the Winklerverse. David Kaplan, ESPN 1000 in Chicago.
You can have this freaking guy. Vanilla as they come, no accountability. Ian Happ is 22 for his last 37 strikeouts. 22 strikeouts his last 37 at bats. So you know what we did with him yesterday? We moved him out of the 4-hole. Thank God. We put him in the 3-hole. I mean, I don't know what this guy's doing. I do not understand him as a manager, and I think he's vastly overrated and grossly overpaid.
We'll talk more about the managers. I got a little sound from each, and we can compare and contrast maybe the styles of these managers that I think, guys, I think you're blind if you don't agree. It impacts the team. The way the manager manages and goes about their business, it rubs off on the team. And if you don't think that, I guess I don't see sports the same way as you. So we'll compare Murph and Counsell next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
This is where I think Craig Counsell opens himself up to some criticism.
I agree.
Because is his even keel approach the right one for a situation like this?
No.
9 out of 11 losses for a team that clearly is underachieving. At some point in time, you're a manager, you're a professional sports manager or coach. It's okay to hold people accountable publicly. It's okay to be fiery in your face. It's okay to be challenging and confrontational. This is professional sports. And we're not going to see any of that from Craig Counsell. And I have a ton of respect for the way that he leads. But when you do that and you choose that way, that opens yourself up to second guessing like he's going through right now. Because right now, after a game like last night and after a stretch like this, you need somebody to tip over the clubhouse table. You need somebody to get in the face of somebody who's underachieving or maybe not hustling to the extent that they should be. You need some impactful words or a message sent or something delivered that gets through this team that is playing like well below its potential.
Mully Ha on the score, Chicago. I got a lot of Chicago audio. I got a little more from Sam Olber. I spent all day just cutting, snipping, saving. You should see my audio library on this studio PC. If it ever starts on fire and crashes, we're going to know why. I had many leather-bound books, basically. A couple dozen cuts of audio a day going back years, which came in handy today. I'm going to play a cut from last summer here as we compare Murphy and Counsell just a little bit, but that's what they're saying on Chicago Morning Radio about Craig Counsell. I'll continue to take Brewers phone calls if you have something to add. 608-321-1670. I think last night, comparing Cabrera and Harrison, their roles for their teams so far this year and their performances last night, although Cabrera got hurt, to be fair. I think that's a big story. The Brewers didn't pay nearly as much to go get Harrison. And in that deal, they got Hamilton, who had an inside-the-park home run last night. Little league home run, you know what I mean. And then Drowan, who helped slam the door in game 1, who's been excellent now out of the bullpen. Cabrera is like cost their 2 and their 10 or their 1 and their 7. It depends on which prospect ranking you use. But Owen Casey and the other guy, it was a 3-for-1. The third guy was an 18-year-old, so that one doesn't apply as much. But the Cubs gave up an arm and a leg to get this guy. The Brewers didn't give up nearly as much. The Brewers guy's been better. Okay, go figure. Jake Bauers cost them $2.5 million. Alex Bregman cost them $35. No movement clause, full, no options. And Jake Bauers so far has been better. I don't think he'll be better than Alex Bregman over the course of the season, but we're only through May 21st. So we're going to talk about what we've seen through May 21st. It's a big story. I also think the managers and their approaches are very important in the way we talk about these teams, because I think that the ethos and the approach of both managers are reflected in the way the team is playing. Here's Craig Counsell when asked about the mistakes of Pete Crow Armstrong in the press conferences last night.
Pete, the drop fly ball, I don't really think. I mean, the stage is an easier play to me, that he just messed up. He got his feet kind of caught in between, and then he didn't know if he wanted to go get it, or, it's like an infielder that got caught on an in-between hop. Things happen, and we got to move on from them.
Okay, so explained what went wrong in those plays like we couldn't see it. The ball got under his glove. We were watching Craig. So the reaction or the takeaway that Craig gives, the wisdom of the situation is
things happen,
and
we got to move on from them.
PCA 2. I think PCA is way better than he's shown, and he's a terrific defender. Maybe slightly overrated, but he's terrific. Those 2 mistakes are as inexcusable as you'll have in baseball. Dropping a fly ball and then allowing an extra 2 runs because you let a ball roll through your legs, right? Like, that's as bad as it gets. And Bill earlier today said, well, the same thing happened to Renifo in, what was it, game 1? Or was it game 2? And I wasn't going to argue with Bill on this because it doesn't really matter because we were making the same point. But, like, Renifo's playing third base, and the ball came off the bat at 103. Like, yeah, it got on the heel of his glove. Like, that's not the same as Pete Crow Armstrong coming up to play a grounder in the grass and having it roll to the track, okay? Like, that's as bad as it gets. You are hard-pressed to find more costly mistakes by a player who can less afford to make those mistakes than PCA. And again, Craig's wisdom, Craig's takeaway is...
Things happen, and we got to move on from them.
Things happen, and we got to move on. Let me present another situation with Pat Murphy. Pat Murphy on Sunday. Played this audio on Monday, so you may have already heard this, but I'm going to play it again to make a point. Robert Gasser makes a spot start on Sunday because they want to scoot Sproat, Miz, and Harrison back into the Cubs series, which worked out very well for them. We didn't know this at the time, but they call up Robert Gasser, who is their 8th, 9th best starter, working to come back from Tommy John. Robert Gasser struggled with command. It wasn't always pretty, but the end result of the day was 4 innings, 2 earned runs. Not bad. Many teams in baseball would kill to get that from their 8th or 9th starter. Pat Murphy's reaction after the game to the way Gasser pitched.
Gas wasn't sharp, obviously, with all the free bases hit by pitches. How many did he hit? 3? Walked how many?
2.
So 5 free bases in 4 innings. That's not it. You can't give up 5 free bases and pitch in the big leagues in 4 innings. He knows better, and hopefully it'll be better.
So again, just to recap here, to hammer home the point I'm making, an 8th or 9th starter who's a 4A player right now, Robert Gasser, gives up 2 earned runs in 4 innings in a spot start. Murphy says,
you can't give up 5 free bases and pitch in the big leagues in 4 innings. He knows better, and hopefully it'll be better.
PCA, who's making a bunch of money, supposed to be the best center fielder in baseball defensively, has 2 of the most unforgivable types of mistakes in back-to-back games. Craig Counsell's response.
Things happen, and we got to move on from them.
Okay, things happen. Got to move on. Another example of this I could think with Murph. Remember this cheeky Q&A between David Gasper, our friend David Gasper, friend of show, and Pat Murphy. This was last July, I believe, regarding Joey Ortiz. Remember this?
Murph, Joey's been out of the lineup back-to-back days now. Is there something that he's dealing with?
Yeah, the manager's pissed. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
I want him to give me his best approach at the plate and We've given him a lot, and we play him every day, and we need him. And he can't just have lapses at the plate like that, So he's got to fight through that.
Is it related at all to? It just seemed like he took a lot of pitches in Miami. Is that part of it?
Yeah, his swing decisions have been the worst it's been, and he's swinging the bat way better, but his swing decisions now, and then so all that mental stuff. They'll sit and think about it.
So again, just to recap, to drive home the point, I'm going to make it abundantly clear for you to the point where you're almost going to turn the show off because you're like, Grant, oh my God, we get it. Joey Ortiz, some bad at bats. Has he not been in the lineup for any reason? Is he going through something?
Yeah, the manager's pissed.
Okay. Craig Counsell, Pete Crow Armstrong, best defensive center fielder in baseball, has 2 balls get by him inexplicably, can't have it. Care to comment?
Things happen, and we got to move on from them.
Okay. Have I made my point clear, or do I need to spend another 5 minutes repeating myself? Sneak in a couple calls here. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's that?
Hey, Grant. Tom from Oak Creek. How are you?
I'm well, Tom. Nice to hear from you again. What's up?
Yeah, long time. What a glorious 3 days of baseball. I saw a tweet that I thought you'd get a kick out of, or I thought was very good about the Cubs. To paraphrase, it said they were the lovable losers forever, but after they won the World Series, it was an odd choice to drop the lovable instead of the loser descriptor. I thought that was just a chef's kiss. Beautiful. But yeah, I mean, anytime we can destroy the Cubs, it's even more satisfying just watching them trip over themselves to some degree physically, but also metaphorically. It's a great 3 days. And letting them know that the Brewers are still here and are a force to be reckoned with.
They are. And I got to run. I appreciate the call, Tom. We just got a couple others I got to get into, so I'm going to cut you off. All of that I co-sign, yes. And there is a weird thing that happens once your team that's struggled forever. I think this happened with the Red Sox, too. When you finally get that World Series, like, okay, well, what do we do now? And I wonder if the Brewers ever win a World Series, like, you lose that lifelong quest. Changes something about you. And I guess they hired Craig Counsell, which has been a shot of horse tranquilizer to the, vein of that franchise. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant, I got a player comparison side by side for you.
Go ahead,
Vagabond. Get out of the top 20 impactful players of Wisconsin and back into baseball here. So we have 2 defensive studs. One of them batting .168 with 1 home run, 143 at-bats, 14 runs, OPS of .492, 15 RBIs. And we have another batting .196, 102 at-bats, 15 runs, 1 home run, but an OPS of .527. Which player would you be more concerned about losing in the offseason?
Well, they sound so similar. I was trying to figure out which player was who. Was one of them Joey Ortiz?
Yeah. So the second one's Joey Ortiz again. 102 at bats. Yeah. Second one's Joey Ortiz. 102 at bats, same number of RBIs, same number of home runs, much better batting average. On base percentage also better at 28%. Hitting .200, which is, I don't know, not nearly as bad as I thought it was.
He's actually had a nice. He's had a nice enough 2 weeks. It hasn't been good. They don't really need him to be good though. He changed his stance a little bit. Some of his underlying numbers are going in the right direction for whatever that's worth. Who's the first guy?
We love that. Well, the first guy is interesting. We really were worried about losing him in the offseason, and we had no idea how we were going to fill his spot.
Durbin?
And he's short.
No. Durbin.
Yeah.
Oh, that's his numbers from this year. Okay, I was trying to think of 2 Brewers. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I was looking at some because we have an office out in Boston. I was talking to some of the Red Sox fans, and I was like, "Hey, can you give me a status update on Derbs?"
Oh, I'm sure they were ready to do exactly that.
It's been a fun summer, right? Because I'm the Wisconsin sports guy. They're obviously Boston sports. It's very difficult as a Wisconsin sports fan to have anything over these Boston nerds, right? But first, the Vrabel story that just continues to grow. Now we have Caleb Durbin. The Celtics are, collapsing before our eyes we're going to see what happens to them this offseason. So a lot of joy. And I know you listen to Boston Sports Talk Radio as often as you can, like everybody should, because they're fantastic out there. But yeah, just a quick Caleb Durbin check-in. We spent a couple of months in February and January worried about how are we possibly going to replace this guy at third base, and Boston could not want to punt him into the harbor like a box of tea anymore. So that's all I got, Grant.
Good call, the Haba Vagabond John. Yeah, and also this series is very interesting. I saw Bob Nightingale sharing last night. The Brewers acquired Kyle Harrison, Shane Drone, and infielder David Hamilton from the Red Sox in the Durbin trade. This trade is the Cubs' worst nightmare. Harrison 4-1 with a 1.77 ERA, 11 strikeouts tonight. Drone 4.1 shutout innings Monday. Hamilton 2 of 3 with an RBI tonight. 2 of them were unearned because of PCA's error. That's good stuff. I got time for another call or two, but I got to get this last break of the hour in. So if you're on the line, I'll get to you if you can wait, I promise, but I got to get a break in. 608-321-1670. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Mike, I got a deal for you.
Go ahead.
At midnight, I was having a couple of tequilas. I was watching your Milwaukee team, watching the highlights, and Terang won the game with a home run. How do we get Terang? Hey, let's give him Duran and Bayo.
Well, listen, wait a couple years. When the Brewers have to pay him, they'll deal him.
He's a likable player.
Back in first place. Just FYI. Back in first place, taking a steaming leak all over the Cubs. Not that you care, but it's good. It's good to be a Brewer fan, I'll tell you that. I mean, we're not going to win anything, but I get something to watch every night.
Likable, overachieving team.
They have no talent in that lineup either, but they somehow score runs. I'll just say it again. David Hamilton, 9th bunt single last night. 9th. It's May 20th. Last year for you, he had 3 the entire season. There's one team that knows how to use these kind of players and one team that doesn't. Amazing what happens when you actually have a baseball team that learns and knows how to play baseball.
That's okay. Not only do I bring my own takes, our own Wisconsin conversations to the show. You guys want angry takes from Chicago radio? I got you. You want angry takes from Boston radio? I got you. That's Felger and Maz yesterday. Such a hilarious call. I was drinking some tequila. I was watching your Brewers last night. Men will just call sports radio shows and just go, man. 608-321-1670. A call or two here before the top of the hour. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant, that was probably the loudest a-hole in that stadium last night when that ball got by PCA.
Mad Max, did you start a Green Bay sucks chant?
I did not, but in the bottom of the ninth, I didn't hear one until the bottom of the ninth. We started a couple sections down from me started a pretty loud "Let's Go Brewers" chant, and I got in on that. And then they retorted to that with "Green Bay sucks." So that was pretty funny. That was all good stuff.
Glorious to witness that in person. I can't imagine a more satisfying baseball game to witness in person.
It was a great early birthday present for me that I bought. I was glad I went down there, and I almost missed the inside the park home run too, because the Chicago trains weren't really running on time, and I think I waited about 30 minutes longer for a train at the station than I should have, but I got there right at the top of the second. I know Dave and Monona was wishing a couple different misfortunes on me. I think a flat tire was one of them, but I think almost being late because of the train was hopefully it's good enough for him.
That'll make him happy because that's a failure of public transportation. That's government funding not doing its job. So that'll probably make him happy on multiple fronts.
Exactly. The woke liberals in Chicago can't make their public transport run on time. So that's a great Dave talking point.
The trains don't run on
Thanks,
time.
Obama.
Anything else? We got about a minute.
And the food. Oh, and I think Dave also wished food poisoning on me too. And I actually didn't eat at the ballpark. I had a weird schedule yesterday, but I did stop for some late night Taco Bell on the way home. And this morning I couldn't really trust anything happening in my stomach. So, that made work a little bit difficult, but I made it through the day.
Any horseplay?
A little bit. Not much, but a little bit.
At the troughs or just in general around the concourse?
Yeah, in the troughs.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Nobody was in the troughs when I went in there. The bathroom was kind of empty both times I used it, but so I had the whole trough to myself.
I was going to say that's a real pleasure to have the trough to yourself. Mad Max, I'm glad you made it there and back safely, and appreciate the report. Thank you for the call.
Yep, thanks, Grant.
Mad Max, the tunnels under Racine. Now, there's one more person on hold. I promise. If you got 2 or 3 more minutes, I'm sorry to make you wait. We had a busy day on the phones because, the Brewers just swept the Cubs in entertaining fashion. So I'll get to you right after Zach's update. Some breaking news where he said Kyle Busch died. NASCAR announcing, rest in peace. It's a huge bummer. 42, 41. I knew he was ill. He was hospitalized. We were talking about this with Bill earlier today, going into the Indy this weekend too. Hour number 2, Zach's update, and we'll be right back.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers are getting a well-earned day off after finishing off their sweep of the Cubs last night with a 5-0 win. Milwaukee dominated the series, outscoring the Cubs 19-5 while reclaiming first place in the NL Central. Manager Pat Murphy praised his club for the effort.
But I'm happy for the guys. I've said it all year. I trust these guys. They have high expectations of themselves, and we have high standards. So hopefully a weekend like this gives them some confidence.
Pitcher Kyle Harrison was asked whether the series does boost the confidence, having won now 11 of their last 13 games.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming to a place, you're on the road and do a good job pitching and did a great job swinging the bat. So, definitely an encouraging series, but we got a lot of time to go. So.
Win pushed the Crew to a season best 11 games above 500, gave them a 1.5 game lead on the Cubs and Cardinals for first in the division. They'll now turn their attention to a home series against the Dodgers beginning tomorrow night. LA leads the NL West and has won 7 of the last 10 games. Series will be the first between the two clubs since the Dodgers swept Milwaukee in the NLCS last October on their way to a World Series title.
Everyone should feel confident about their path forward. Exact Sciences is now Abbott, and together they will transform the way cancer is detected, diagnosed, and managed for more people around the world. They continue to help patients and healthcare providers make timely, informed decisions before, during, and after a cancer diagnosis by partnering with the industry's best minds and top institutions to transform how cancer, known for the colon to help make a positive impact in your health path forward. Learn more at Abbott.com.
Well, the Packers finishing up phase 2 of their offseason program this week. They'll get into phase 3 next week. That involves 10 OTA practices over 3 weeks, and along with a mandatory minicamp in the second week of June. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Brewers an out away from winning all 3 here at the friendly confines.
Struck him out looking, and the Brewers sweep the Cubs at Wrigley.
And they sweep the Cubs for the first time since August of 2021.
Frustrating night at the ballpark. A frustrating beginning to this homestand as the Brewers come in and sweep the Cubs.
But I'm happy for the guys. I've said it all year. I trust these guys. They have high expectations of themselves, and we have high standards. So hopefully a weekend like this gives them some confidence.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
Hour number 2, we're going to stick with the Brewers. I got a Giannis thing, and I got an Aaron Rodgers thing. He spoke with the media yesterday. Some nice comments about his future that we can react to. The show presented by Kai's Chevy Town, the official vehicle sponsor of the Wisco Sports Show. We're running some 2025 closeouts on Silverados specifically with up to $10,000 in BY's savings. 2026 models as well with, again, up to almost $10,000 in BY's savings. So some really good 2025 closeouts remaining and some great specials this month on 2026 models. Not to mention their service department is outstanding. I can't recommend them enough. Austin and everybody. I believe it's Austin's birthday today. So shout out to Austin and the whole service department. They do a great job. You can schedule service anytime. And check out their inventory. It's updated daily. ChevyTownUSA.com. BY's, see Kai's for the best buys. Oh, yeah. And by the way, if you need new tires, they're doing basically a 3-for-1 through the end of the month. You buy 3, you get the 4th for $1. So a good time to replace the shoes of your vehicle if that's something that you need to do. All right. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for being patient. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant. It's Coyote Mike.
Coyote Mike, good
ya?
evening. Oh, Mike, how could I be any better? Those last 3 games, you kidding me?
Oh, wasn't it fantastic?
Mm-hmm.
I wish they were playing again tonight. They kicked their butts.
Yeah, 4 nights in a row. No kidding. Yeah, why not a 4-gamer?
Yeah, you're talking about Murphy. He's the kind of guy you'd want to hit the beachhead with at Normandy and have him lead you up the beach. You know? I think he knows how to push the buttons on all those players, and you can darn well bet that he told Robert Gasser what he said to him before he said it to the press.
Oh, yeah.
The same way with Ortiz. He lays it out there, and these guys understand. And I think some of the new guys like Hamilton and Rengifo, they come from some of those underperforming, underachieving organizations. And then when they get here, I think they don't realize just how high the standards are when you're playing brutal baseball for Pat Murphy.
Or like Rengifo, who I think was with the Angels. And Anthony Rendon, I don't think he's still there, but Rendon's a player like that's the anti-Yelich, cashing a check, doesn't care, always hurt. Or, David Hamilton, who was in Boston last year, their veteran, at least for the first part of the year, was Fatso. They traded him out to San Francisco. What's his name? Why can't I think of it? But that's their Christian Yelich. The standards just aren't as high. And that's why I'll always go to bat for Christian Yelich, man. I think you need those standard bearers in the clubhouse, and the Brewers have got a couple good ones, and they win. So the expectation is, hey, man, don't come in and mess it up. Don't be the reason that this thing doesn't keep going. You come in here and you fit in.
Yeah. I've been thinking maybe we need to give Mark Antanasio a little more credit than he gets sometimes for keeping, somewhere along the line, who's the brains behind this? Apparently Counsell isn't. Murphy.
He wasn't a personality either.
David Stearns wasn't. Is it Matt Arnold? And then who's behind Matt Arnold? Does Antanasio got some little MIT guy stashed away in a closet office giving him all the rundown the last 10 years on analytics and stuff like that?
I think Matt Arnold is pretty spectacular. I appreciate it, Cotty Mike. We got jammed up phone lines. Anything else before I let you go?
Steve Grant. Have a good Memorial Day.
Yeah, you too, Mike. Have a good weekend. Sorry to be quick. I know you waited, but I just want to make sure we get to everyone tonight. I think Matt Arnold's pretty tremendous. The interesting thing is, I think a lot of people would think, well, Matt Arnold, he's just, he's another David Stearns clone. Not really. David Stearns would make trades. He would give up prospects. You know, they gave up players to get Willie Adames. They gave up players to get Christian Yelich. That was a tremendous deal. You know, they signed Lorenzo Cain to 5 years, right? Stearns extended himself financially and in terms of dealing prospects. Arnold hasn't. Arnold's been nothing but consistent. We're not going to trade our prospects, and we're not going to sign big contracts that wear us down. We're not going to get sucked into extending guys like Freddie Peralta or Willie Adames. That contract's been a disaster for San Francisco. Now, maybe it's been exacerbated by the fact that they're also paying 3 or 4 other guys who are old and over the hill and expensive and injury prone. Who's the fatso from the Red Sox? Devers. Thank you on the live stream. Rafael Devers and Matt Chapman. That contract's aging poorly because of course it is. So I don't know that the Adames trade in a vacuum would have been a horrible one for Milwaukee. I don't know. He's in a place where they signed 4 other Adameses, so that made it worse. But Arnold's been so consistent in his strategy that's not the same as David Stearns. It's a different GM, operates differently. I think Mark Atanasio has done a good job of hiring people and paying to keep the right people. You know, Chris Hook, Pat Murphy. I mean, that's an Atanasio decision. So I don't know. I won't go so far as to say we need to give the owner more credit. I think the owner takes too much flack. Of course, he could spend a little bit more. What? Did you want him to go and get Bregman? How's that look? You know, so not to be Mr. Defend the owner guy, but in most instances, spending the money doesn't get you the result you want. Most instances. Now, if you have Dodgers money, see, that's the thing. We talked about this with Sam Olber on Monday. If you have enough money to go sign Juan Soto or Shohei, well, yeah, that's going to pay dividends. But most recent evidence shows that paying the guy in the middle is not going to work out, which is why teams have stopped paying the guy in the middle, by the way, which is why we're probably going to have a lockout. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
I've got a comment about PCA. To have one skip under your glove like that, could happen to anybody. It's happened. We've seen it. But where was his backup? But the way he went after it, when counsel said it seemed like he wasn't sure he wanted to go after it, he was just dogging it. And I think if he'd have quartered, go ahead.
Right. No. You're right. I should have brought this up earlier. You're absolutely right. I think that the problem, caller, is that he botched a fly ball the night before, so there's extra scrutiny on him. And you're right. He didn't exactly kick it into gear to turn around and get it.
Not like when he's running for a triple. It was two, totally different efforts.
No, you're absolutely
but,
right.
The guy's what a horrible week I feel for the guy, but everybody wants to blame counsel. That Chicago fans are just brutal to that guy.
Well,
but what can he do? With all the injuries. But that was my main point. That when he turned around to get the ball, he was just kind of mailed it in.
No,
and threw it. He kind of just, the way he turned his face. I think if he would have charged it, threw it like he should have, they had a chance of getting that guy. That you would have got a couple extra steps and cutting that guy down at the plate.
It would have been closer. Or I appreciate the call. It's a great point because we haven't brought it up. He kind of jogged it. You're right. And when you say, well, what do you want counsel to do? Something, anything, move Happ in the lineup somewhere that's not up. Give PCA a day off. That's pretty simple. Those are pretty simple things to me. I played you that cut earlier from Bart because he had David Kaplan on his podcast. And I like Bart's point here. I'll cut it off after he makes it. So counsel's calling card is never gets too high, never gets too low. But Bart's point is sometimes you need to be higher than 0, which is seemingly where counsel always is.
I'd go in those locker rooms. And the thing about counsel is you never get too high and you never get too low. And for a while, that's fine. But you got to get higher than nothing.
So when you say, what do you want counsel to do? I don't know. Something that's not nothing. And he's doing nothing. I understand their pitching's banged up, but their pitching wasn't really the issue the last couple nights. Now, sure, Cabrera got hurt, but their bullpen put up a lot of zeros last night. Gave up a run in the 7th, but 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, because Phil Maton's terrible. By the way, you spend money on Phil Maton, $15 million. Again, bad money spent. Phil Maton, I always think of that Frank the Tank clip. Phil Maton has nothing. He had nothing. Phil Maton, get out of my face. The pitching wasn't really the issue the last night. Shota didn't have it, but Craig left him out there to hang. Ben Brown was pretty good. Ben Brown was pretty darn good in game 2, actually. Defense let him down because, I don't know, maybe Craig should do something with PCA. Last night, the offense was dead. Maybe it's because Ian Happ, who struck out, in 30% or 60% of his at-bats in the last week or two, maybe it's because you moved him up into third instead of down into fifth or sixth, which is where he should be. I don't know. What do you want Craig to do? Something? Anything? 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, it's Darnell.
Hey, Darnell, what's going on? Nice to hear from you.
Hey, yeah. You just mentioned David Stearns versus Matt Arnold, and
yes,
I think the Brewers as an organization, and this is obviously back with Stearns at the helm, but in 2015, I think it was 2015, they traded away Carlos Gomez and Mike Fiers and got just a bevy, right? They got like Brett Phillips, right? And they got Josh Hader.
Great
right?
trade. That was the Peralta trade too, and he was just a youngster, right? Or maybe that might be a different trade. You're right.
Maybe, but either way, it kind of felt like a big paradigm shift from the 2008 team that made the playoffs, and that was really cool. But they mortgaged the entire farm system to get Sabathia, right? Mm-hmm. And then in 2011, they tried to win it all again, and they got rid of the farm. And then in 2015, they kind of had a shift where they're like, all right, we can't be doing this every 2 years and then just suck for 3 years after, right? Mm-hmm. We have to do this a little bit of a different way. And since 2015, they haven't really made that big swing. Obviously, you have to pay Christian Yelich after 2 MVP seasons. You have to, right?
I wonder, Darnell. I seriously wonder if Matt Arnold was in charge at the time, if he would have. You know what I mean? Like, conventional wisdom says you have to, but like, the Tigers aren't going to be probably paying Tarek Skubal. Like, I understand what you're saying. I don't begrudge them for it at all. I think there are other general managers, possibly Matt Arnold, that wouldn't have done it. I think the Brewers are better off for it. Honestly, I don't think the Brewers would be better off the last 5 or 6 years without Yelich. I wonder if Matt Arnold would have done it. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's fine. It's a good point. And also, it's an exception to the rule, I would say, though, over the past 10 years or so, where they just don't take those big swings anymore like they did. I think the last big swing I remember them taking is probably Jonathan Scope. I think they gave a couple prospects for him, and he was kind of, he kind of fell on his face. So, but I mean, other than that, I can't look at like any time in the last 6 or 7 or 8 years where they really gave up the farm for someone.
Probably, not the farm. They gave up, again, we're using farm in a relative way. They gave up pieces for Pomeranz in 19 and Adames in 2021 in ways that I don't think Matt Arnold would. I don't think Mauricio Dubon. I mean, the Brewers gave up their number 3 prospect to go get Pomeranz. They got Tyler Blackback for whatever it's worth. So that's not the farm, but that's more like Matt Arnold doesn't make that deal. You know what I mean? Like, right. That's why we're talking about these GMs. Everyone would think, well, they just one clone, one nerd to the next. They're very different nerds, though.
Right. But it seems like, I don't know what it is, but they just do their homework better.
Sure.
Like, they're like, okay, we have a need right here, and we don't think we're going to be able to fill it with our farm. Let's go do it right now. Right. Sure. Or we have just a surplus right here. What can we get for it? / can we shore up something for 3 or 4 years from now? You know what I mean? Like it's like they're playing chess and the rest of the league is playing checkers. And I keep, every time they make a deal, I'm like, okay. And then it works out 10 times fold. I'm like, all right, I don't even know why I questioned it, much less scrutinized it. You know what I mean?
Every time they make a deal, Darnell, appreciate it. My thought is, love the deal. Who'd they get? Like, I love the trade. Who'd they get back? I don't even need to see it. Yeah, I don't think Matt Arnold makes the deal for Pomeranz. They gave up Dubon. I don't think that he would have made the Adames trade, or they gave up Rasmussen. Fireeisen actually was, I remember him being pretty okay in 2020, but I can't remember. I don't think the Brewers internally at the time felt Rasmussen was going to be a starter, so Stearns misjudged that. Maybe had he known that, he wouldn't have made the deal, but I know that Matt Arnold's not making that deal. Matt Arnold's not making that deal. So everyone thinks, well, Stearns to Arnold. It's just one, it's from one nerd to the next. Not really. Let's take one more call here, and then we're going to take a break. Let's go Sports Show. Who's this? Hello.
Hey, this is Brett.
Brett, who? Yes, it's you. Yes. Call back. Sorry about that. If it wasn't clear. I'm honestly still laughing about Phil Maton. I'm not gonna lie. How much did they pay him? $15 million? Phil Maton. You remember this? Hold on. I think this is the cut.
This game wasn't lost by Phil Maton.
Yes.
I mean, Phil Maton had nothing. I mean, he had some good games down the stretch, but he had nothing today.
Phil Maton
should never have been allowed to face Mitchell. I mean, my God, God forbid it's Adam Ottavino, but you cannot have him out there with Mitchell just being a monster against the Mets.
God, that's so funny. Phil Maton. This game was not lost by Phil Maton. I mean, he had nothing, but God, he can't be out there. I mean, God forbid it's Adam Ottavino, but F. Of all of the years we've been doing the show, and I save all these sound bites, I remember them. I think that one might be my favorite. Let's take a break. We'll continue to talk Brewers. I have a Giannis thing and an Aaron Rodgers thing. We'll hit both before the end of the show, but any Brewers dribs and drabs next. I'll get to some of your texts as well before we switch over to talk about some other things.
This game wasn't lost by Phil Maton. I mean, Phil Maton had nothing. I mean, he had some good games down the stretch, but he had nothing today. Should never have been allowed to face Mitchell. I mean, my God, God forbid it's Adam Ottavino, but
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
This game wasn't lost by Phil Maton. I mean, Phil Maton had nothing. I mean, he had some good games down the stretch, but he had nothing today. Should never have been allowed to face Mitchell. I mean, my God, God forbid it's Adam Ottavino, but you cannot have him out there where Mitchell just being a monster against the Mets. But Pete Alonso, pick up your weight, you fat. You're turning into Daniel Vogelback more and more every day. I know you both went to Florida, so obviously you're every at bat you suck. You cost yourself more money. I don't care if you even sign anymore. I mean, the Mets are going to give you the qualifying offer. I'd rather have the draft pick.
It's my favorite soundbite from the show ever. That's the day after Garrett Mitchell hit. I think, did they hit back-to-back off? No. That would have been the next night. It was game 2 against the Mets when Garrett Mitchell hit the tank off of Phil Maton, who's still doing it. If I had a family member who fell ill and fell into a coma in 2024 and they woke up and they said, Grant, what have I missed? I'd say, hey, Phil Maton's still doing it. And Jed Hoyer, God bless him, paid him $15 million just to get stomped by the Brewers over and over again. And there's never been a soundbite that's aged better. Phil Maton did have nothing last night. And what a great artifact from Frank the Tank at Barstool, too. Talking about, you are turning into Daniel Vogelback more every day. I know you both went to Florida. I mean, God forbid it's Adam Ottavino. I'm probably the only one who finds this funny. I don't care. Sometimes I have to entertain myself. That's such a funny clip to me. If only the Brewers had won the series. Then that Sal Frelick and Jake Bauers and that Garrett Mitchell home run. Maybe it would mean something then. Unfortunately, I cling more to the humor of the soundbite than the memory of the games themselves. I want to talk a little bit about Giannis and some of the contracts or the trade offers that are floating around for him. But first, I want to take one call here. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, how are you doing, Grant?
Denny and Holman. I'm doing swell.
Hey, I heard earlier today a report about Kyle Busch being in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just heard he passed away at 41.
Yep.
My God.
Broke about a half hour ago. Yeah, it's very sad.
What happened? Did it say what happened?
We don't know yet. A sudden illness.
Wow. Hey, my friend, you got a beautiful looking guitar. That Fender Strat is beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you. It's a Mexican Strat, but I don't. Yeah, I'm not an elitist. This is an American standard with the fanciest pickups possible. Like, no, I know.
Yeah, I got the same thing. I got a Mexican one. It's red. They're nice guitars.
Beautiful.
They play nice.
Dude, the Squires are good guitars. I like the Chinese ones. I had an acoustic Squire for the longest time. I like if I could find a Squire Telecaster and just have a Telecaster, I would. They're good guitars.
You know, how bad is it getting that Megadeth has got to play in Green Bay and lacrosse to 3,000 people?
What is that? What is that supposed to mean? What's that supposed to mean, Denny?
Well, you know Megadeth. You heard Dave Mustaine and everybody.
No, I have no footprint in heavy metal music.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. So I was very, very happy with the Brewers. Like I said, I couldn't believe that first when they missed that so-called easy grounder and stuff. But I mean, they really, I think Murphy, like you were saying yourself, has got a lot to do with this team, his coaching, his philosophy, everything he's doing. It's just amazing. It really is.
I think the teams take after their manager, Denny. I do.
Yeah, I really do too.
So don't tell me that a manager doesn't matter. I know maybe they're not making the lineups every night, and maybe they have data that's being given them to make decisions, but agenda setting, message setting, energy.
Could they clone him and make him a basketball for the Bucks? Because he's
Pat Murphy.
He's one hell of a coach. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think so. Well, he used to coach football. Kurt wrote about that. A month or two ago. I know he's on Bill's show to talk about it, but he kind of coaches like a football player.
Oh, and by the way, last week when you were doing double duty for Bill and stuff like that, man, I don't know how you do it, but you sounded just as good every time that you went on the air and stuff. It didn't even sound like you were that rested, from being probably almost, humanly dead from exhaustion, from
by the end of the week.
Going,
yeah. It's hard, Denny. The only thing that paying double duty, talking about guitars, and we're off the reservation a little bit here, Denny. Appreciate it. I'll get into Megadeth and I'll report back to you. I don't mind doing Bill's show. It's just by like Thursday and Friday night. The 10 to 2 show is not a problem. It's then coming back and doing this show, and my brain's just mushy. It's not that we don't have things to talk about, but I only got so much gas. And my words just start to blend together, and my eyes start to cross. That's the only thing. On guitars, Goose Egg says, what do you know about PRS guitars? My boss played a real Fender Telecaster tuned to 5 strings open, just like Keith Richards. Well, that's badass. I've played a PRS here and there. They're nice guitars. Folks, most guitars are nice. There's little differences and preferences, but I don't know. Like, I like playing guitar, right? And you can find thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, probably, I don't know, of YouTube videos comparing this guitar and that guitar. And like, it's cool. And if I had unlimited money, I'd probably have more than 1 or 2 guitars. But like, just play your guitar. I like the one with the maple fretboard. I like the one with the rosewood fretboard. It's like, okay, there's probably a little difference. Just find one that you like to play and play it, and fit your fingers, and it'll be good. But PRS guitars are good. I'd have a Silver Sky if I had reason to have more than one electric guitar. I think they're cool. I'd like it like a really cheap, like I'd like the Chinese Silver Sky, and then I could mod it a little bit, put some trinkets on there to make it kind of fun, like a preamp jack or something. Denny, this guy knows what I'm talking about, right, Denny? Sorry, Denny, I don't know Megadeth. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I swear we'll do Giannis after the bottom of the hour here, after 5:30, but let's just take one more call and we'll clear the decks. We'll come back with a good, clean, hard reset. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hi, this is Brett from Bondwell. Pete Kerr Armstrong, he's just, I can't believe people were proclaiming him as the next big thing when all he did was go through a first half 2023 Owen Miller run, and now he sucks again. This is supposed to be the face of Chicago sports.
It was a little Linsanity-ish. And I guess the Cubs paid him off of that, and then he got cold, and I didn't know that he would be like 40 home run guy, but I thought he'd be better than this.
Yeah, Owen Miller, he's from Wisconsin, by the way. I don't know if you know that, but you're talking about managerial style. I really don't think baseball managing is that hard. I think the most difficult part is being the guy people want to go out there and die for 162 games. It's a long season. Council just isn't that. He's not that. That's why the Brewers just underachieved every year under him, it felt like.
There's just no life. There's no life. Like, Brett, when you go to work and there's your coworker who's always been whining and it's never interesting. Like, I come to work every day, I see Ebo. What a great shot in the arm. But like, if the guy I work next to all day was just it sucks the life out of the place.
You feed off your coworker's energy. When it's not there, you're down yourself.
Yeah, well, I can feel it. Owen Miller was from Wisconsin, you say?
Yeah, Fredonia. I don't know if you knew that. It's pretty crazy. A lot of people they never brought it up on the broadcast ever. Whenever he played,
do we know where Andrew Monasterio's from? Conversely,
I don't think so.
I don't know off the top of my head. Anything else, Brett? Hey, thanks. I think you're a first ever caller from Bonduel. I appreciate it. I suppose you get angry.
Caller,
people say Bonduel.
Yeah,
I'm sure that would bother you.
Bonduel. Oh yeah, ticks me off. Same with we live right next to Shawano.
Well, that pisses me right off, as Josh Maurer would say. Yeah. Well, Brett, this was a pleasure. Call back sometime, okay?
Yeah, appreciate it, Grant. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too, Brett. Did you know that Owen Miller was from Fredonia? No, I didn't. No, I did not. Imagine the Brewers giving Owen Miller the big time extension after what year was that? 2021. He's just unconscious for we remember it as like a full spring. It was probably like 5 days that he was just. It was probably about the end of it. Brett. Let's take a break. I want to talk about Giannis when we come back. I think some people have some misconceptions about a potential trade rumor. We'll do that next because we can't do 2 full hours on baseball. It's too much. I'm going to mix in a couple of other things just because I feel like I have to.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I work for Pella because I know it's a company that builds and installs a quality product. The people that I meet, the stories that I hear, and it's really one of my favorite parts of this job.
That's really it. I love being able to walk hand in hand with customers throughout the whole process from start to finish.
I love doing entry doors. When you show that picture of what their future entry door looks like and you get that big smile, that's just one of the best feelings.
Get the look you want for the home you love with 0% financing options available. Visit PellaWI.com today.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
The Milwaukee Bucks are officially open for business. They are engaging with teams. They're talking to teams. They're getting teams' best offers between now and the NBA draft, and they will make a decision. The biggest point that you need to know in all this, Rich, is Giannis, for a period of months, has made it clear to the Bucks, to the parties that need to know, that he is ready. He believes the time has come for both sides to part ways, to move on from each other. And what I've learned since Jimmy Haslam came out and said, listen, it's going to be either he's going to commit to an extension in June or we're going to trade him in June, is that nothing has changed about his stance. And so that would lead you to believe that the Bucks will then obviously seriously consider these offers that they are officially open for business for. And, you know, you're going to see teams like Miami, Minnesota, Boston. The Lakers will be, you know, the Lakers express interest in Giannis at the deadline. Right now, what they'll be able to offer is 3 first-round picks in cap space and essentially absorb Giannis's contract. Now, if you're the Bucks, are you just going to trade Giannis to the Lakers for cap space for 3 first-round picks? Like, my sense is they're going to get better.
That's Shams. I don't understand that last part. I guess I don't really care to. Well, I mean, the Lakers will be giving them cap space. They'll take on Giannis' contract. He's only under contract for 1 more year. So typically in trades, when it's like, well, we can't give you a lot, but we'll take on the money. It's like the money of a terrible player for the next 3 years. That's not. Now, if you love the Lakers picks and you just want the picks and, you know, money to match because that's what it'll take, fine. Like, that's one thing. I don't really get the Lakers thing. I want to talk more about Miami because that seems to be the Giannis team du jour this week. We've moved on from the Celtics. Jaylen Brown has not been streaming on Twitch with the same frequency. He hasn't been throwing the same stuff out. So we'll talk about this for a couple minutes here. And if you want to join to talk Bucks, 608-321-1670, I can have you on. But give me a couple minutes here. So the latest, Gary Woeful is the one who started this. This is far from a secret or far from a crazy scoop. But if you look at prediction markets right now, and I understand that many people do, there's a whole world out there. There's worlds that I'm just unaware of. People who listen to Jelly Roll, no shame if you do. People who operate in prediction markets, no shame if you do. People who drink Dr. Pepper, I don't understand it. Tastes like barbecue water. But there's worlds out there, the prediction markets being one of them. Gary Woeful tweeting, the Heat are the odds-on favorites to land Antetokounmpo in a trade. Here's the package some NBA officials told me the Heat is offering the Bucks and my personal opinions on the individuals involved. I don't need the opinions. Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Khalil Ware, and draft picks. This year's 13th overall pick, which could be a potential starter, and 2 future first. The latter pair will likely be first-rounders, and we all know how Horst has fared with late first-round. This is why I met Gary at the Combine. He seems like a nice guy. Gary, if you're listening, you tweet like a prick. If you have a scoop, just tweet the scoop. I don't need your cutesy, well, you know, John Horst has really been bad with picks. I don't need the commentary, Gary. I know he's reported forever, and he probably has sources. I'm not denying that. But you tweet like an a-hole. Nothing personal with you. I met him. He was very nice. I'm not saying you're an a-hole. I'm saying you tweet like a massive, raging a-hole. And it's so hard to take any of your reporting seriously, but I have to because we live in a world now where the Bucks are shopping Giannis. So anything I can get my mitts on is going to get discussed on the show. Let's just talk about this potential deal, okay? It would be Tyler Hero and some young players. You know, the Bucks, here's what would probably happen. It's Hero picks and then a young player or two, and the Bucks could probably pick. You know what I mean? Do you like Jaquez? Do you like Ware? There's the fella from Illinois whose name I can't remember, and even if I could remember, I don't think I can pronounce it. Yakashionis, that guy. Or Larson, that other guy. Like, there's other young guys. So I would imagine if this deal is a Miami deal, it would be Hero for the money. He's got 1 year left, I believe. Hero for the money because it's got to work. Picks, and then the young player the Bucks desire. And maybe if there's a young player that the Heat don't want to give up, then it's like, okay, well, you can have that guy, but we're gonna keep one of the picks or something like that. They're negotiating something like that. And I know they got to make the money work, but Hero's mostly the piece that makes that work. I see a lot of Bucks fans reacting very negatively to this. Well, what do you mean Tyler Hero and a young player in picks? No chance, not even close. I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's a bad deal. I don't think the Bucks are getting 5 first-rounders and a bunch of young players. Like, you're not taking... Like, remember what the Lakers gave up for Anthony Davis? Like, I think that would be the dream, right? We want all of your picks, and then we want all the young, exciting guys you just drafted. Lonzo Ball, and... Although I think they kept Lonzo, but I can't remember. But it would be Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram, and was Josh Hart there? Maybe? Josh Hart? Or another player, doesn't matter. But like your handful of young developing players and all the picks. I don't think the Bucks are going to get that. And Giannis is also going to have a little sway on where he wants to go because he's only got a year left. And it seems like Giannis really likes Miami, really likes Boston. I think the Bucks probably come out just fine in a trade like that with the Heat. Then you flip Tyler Hero for something. Then you probably trade Miles Turner as well. And you have as many picks and young players as possible, and you go from there. I don't think that trade's that bad. I could be wrong. Maybe the Bucks get 5 first-rounders and all the young players. Maybe. Who's to say? If the Thunder go down and they don't have an answer for Wembanyama, maybe they get desperate. I don't know. Maybe the Wolves get really desperate and it's Jaden McDaniels and a bunch of other... I don't know. I don't know. But I see all these trades that are thrown around for Giannis, and Bucks Twitter's like, not a chance. The Bucks Twitter, by the way, that's also in complete and total denial that Giannis is even going to get dealt. Like this is all fake. Also, I don't like that trade. It's like, wait a minute. This is either fake or we're engaging with the trades. It's got to be one or the other. I think it's real. I think Giannis wants to go, and I think the Bucks are listening. I think if you get 3 first-rounders in a swap or something like that, and 1 or 2 of the Heat's young, exciting players, and then you can flip Hero as well, that makes money work. I think the Bucks are coming out ahead there. Why? Because tell me why Giannis and Bam Adebayo and who else? That's supposed to be a better situation for Giannis? Who the hell's even on the Heat roster? 2026. Let me look at their ESPN page. Like, who's even on the team this last year? Bam, he scored 81. Did you hear about it? Oh, Andrew Wiggins is there. I didn't know that. Norman Powell, of course. Nikola Jovic. Trevor Keels. Are you familiar? Went to Duke. Like, yeah. Giannis can't win in Milwaukee. All he has is AJ Green and Ryan Rollins and Miles Turner. Better get him to Miami so he can play with Bam Adebayo, and who can't really space the floor. Can he space the floor? Is he a 3-point shooter? I don't know. Yeah, Giannis better get down to Miami so he can chase a championship with Norman Powell and Andrew Wiggins. Jaime Jaquez. Yeah. That's the golden road to the championship Giannis is currently lacking. This is from Justin a couple weeks ago, and I agree. I will continue to agree with this.
If that's where we head, that there's a trade here, even though the optics are going to dictate otherwise, the Bucks are probably going to win the trade, because more often than not, you don't win a championship. You don't find that success with the next team because you're trading a guy who's going to be 32 in December. For the last 4 years, there have been injuries that have been an impact of his game. It has to frighten you at least a little bit that the mid-range shot that was there a couple of years ago has vanished all of a sudden. He's never been a good free throw shooter. So there's those aspects to the game that you cannot help but question, how is this going to age, right? Like I understand you can get in the paint and finish at the rim now. Can you do that consistently when you're 34 and 35 and 36? Look at every other instance of these trades. I mean, we saw it 2 years ago in our own backyard here where you traded for Dame, didn't work out, and it also wasn't Giannis's fault. It was Dame's fault in the eyes of many Bucks fans. It doesn't tend to work out when you make those trades. That's why I say the reality is the Bucks are very likely to win the trade if there is a trade that takes place, even if you look at it and you say, I'll just throw numbers out, for example, here, like, oh, they only got 2 or 3 first-round picks, and they got this player that isn't even an all-star, and this guy, like, wow, they got fleeced, but it's probably not going to prove to be the case.
So I agree with that, and at the end, Justin's kind of describing the exact trade that they would be getting in Miami. Tyler Hero, not an all-star, a young player, the kid from Illinois, Larson, maybe Jaquez, I don't know, and a bunch of picks. Like, oh, they got fleeced. Probably not. I don't know, unless Giannis and Bam are going to, well, Norman Powell, don't forget. So that team's going to boat race to a title. Well, at least there's culture down in Miami, because I guess Giannis needs that set for him. I'm not defending Doc Rivers. Dude was checked out. But, at a certain point, Giannis, you got to be active in your own rescue, buddy. This team has a bad culture. I shouldn't try to do the accent. It's in poor taste. This team has a bad culture. Okay, well, I guess we can pout, or maybe, I don't know, we could just, maybe leader of the team, face of the franchise, driving force there. I don't know. What do I know? I've never played in the NBA. I would take that trade with Miami. I don't need Tyler Hero. I have no use for Tyler Hero. So bring him in, flip him, get whatever you can for him. No need. Thank you. Bye-bye. Goose Eggs on the live stream says, I would rather trade Giannis for a property tax credit than Tyler Hero. Well, that's basically what they'd be doing. Tyler Hero would be basically a credit that they would flip to another team, because I think he's got 1 more year on his contract. Bye-bye. He's from Milwaukee. Yeah. So is Owen Miller, as we've discussed. That doesn't mean I want him on my baseball team. Get out of here. A couple of thoughts on the upcoming retirement of Aaron Rodgers. It's yesterday. We'll do that, and some final thoughts, potpourri in the final segment as we wrap up the show next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers says that 2026 will be his final year. Do I believe him? I believe that he believes it when he says it. 2027 is a different year. We don't know how he'll feel based upon how things go this year. We don't know what the Steelers will want based upon how things go this year. But at least for now, the mindset is it is his final year. And that sets up a farewell tour. It's going to be all about Aaron Rodgers everywhere the Steelers go. Didn't have to be that way. He didn't have to come out and say that. He could have left things vague, and he usually does leave things vague. That's what's out of character for him. He's given us certainty. It is going to be his last year. Let's believe him, and let's appreciate one of the all-time greats as he makes his final run at an NFL season.
Hilarious soundbite from Mike Florio, because he spends the first 30 seconds of it saying, I don't know, do we believe him? He likes the attention. He might retire, might not. And then at the end said, well, let's believe him and appreciate the last season of greatness that we have in a great player. Like, oh, okay. We landed the plane in a very friendly way. Thank you, Mike Florio. Aaron Rodgers announcing yesterday at his first media availability with the Steelers. I believe it was his first. It's the first I've seen. Announcing that this is going to be the end. And he also talked a little bit about, learning that Mike Tomlin was leaving and the reaction to that. And I kind of thought that would probably be it. But then when Mike McCarthy showed up, he's like, okay, maybe I'd be wanted back.
Yeah, I love Mike T. I mean, I really appreciate the opportunity to come in last year and love my experience with him. And, I thought when he said he was stepping away, that was an emotional moment just because we all love him so much and care about him. And, I thought that that was probably it for me in Pittsburgh. But when the decision was made to hire Mike, I started opening my mind back up to coming back. Yes. This is it. Yeah.
This is it. Yeah. And he had a smile on his face, almost like he was happy with the decision, excited to have one more year, like maybe some of the weight had been lifted off of his shoulders. I think this is great. When Aaron Rodgers retires and he's no longer on the Steelers, and I believe this will probably be his last year. He's been hurt in like each of the last 4. Like, yeah, I'd want to be done too if I were him. It's time. When he retires, the Steelers are going to be the worst watch, the most boring watch in the NFL. More so than the Jets, more so than the Cardinals, neither of whom have any primetime games, I believe, this year. I know the Cardinals don't, and I don't think the Raiders do either. But the Steelers will be a more boring watch than those other teams. Why? Because the Steelers are going to get stuffed down our throat on primetime. Because it's the Steelers. It's Pittsburgh. Terry Bradshaw, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin, now Mike McCarthy. Like, they're going to be on primetime plenty. But they're going to play Will Howard at quarterback or Drew Aller, who maybe Mike McCarthy's, quarterback school. Maybe they can coach him up. Tua. Somebody like they'll have some just insufferable option at quarterback next year because they seem like really against addressing that position full bore. And we're going to commit a first-round draft pick to a guy. Well, we tried that with Kenny Pickett. Yeah, you try again. That's what you do. If it doesn't work, you try again. It's not like a kicker where it's like, well, we tried Anders Carlson. We're not going to do that again. It's like, well, no, you do need to keep trying a quarterback. Omar Khan in this deal. You do need to make an attempt. So I'm thrilled Rodgers is back. It's much more interesting. Not to mention, he's going to be coached by Mike McCarthy again, which will be banner content for the morning show. It's funny, I asked a lot of people about this at the Combine. I'm a social butterfly. I'm out and about. I'm chatting with people who know things around the league. Not like Roger Goodell, not like coaches and GMs. I'm not Jay Glazer throwing parties for coaches. Those people don't interest me anyways. I don't want to hang out with Kyle Shanahan. I want to hang out with media people. Those are the people that interest me. Tell me what you know. And nobody thought that this was Rodgers and McCarthy hate each other like blood and water, like oil and water. They hate each other. No way this will work. I think a big part of the reason why this is working or going to happen, we'll see if it's going to work. But I think a big part of the reason it's happening is because the dynamic is completely shifted. At the end in Green Bay, when McCarthy and Rodgers were kind of playing out the string, it was clear that the team was going to stick with the quarterback, not the coach, despite what Terry Bradshaw wanted at the time, if you'll remember. Hot take. They were going to stick with the quarterback. They're going to fire the coach. keep the quarterback. Now, Rodgers is going to play one more year, self-determined, but I think he was probably only going to play one more year anyways. So I think the organization probably is going to try to find a solution. The solution will suck, but they'll try to find one. McCarthy's got the leash now. He's going to be there longer. He has more job security now. So the dynamic has flipped in that, all right, Rodgers, we'll let you come play here for a year, but just know, like, when this season's done, you're out. I'm still going to be here. I'm going to be here long after you. You know, that whole thing, which wasn't the case in Green Bay. And I think that probably wore on McCarthy, and it probably empowered Rodgers in a way that was probably best for everyone. McCarthy was moving on anyways. Rodgers needed a new coach, clearly, for whatever reason. We'll never know. If he needed motivation, if he needed new offensive ideas, I don't know. Or maybe McCarthy had just grown that stale. But then he goes to Dallas. He was pretty good for a couple of years in a place that I don't know. I don't know that's the easiest place to win. They draft pretty well, and Dak's pretty good, but Dak was hurt, one with Cooper Rush and the other guy whose name escapes me. We can extend this conversation into tomorrow. I know Bill's going to be at Road America tomorrow, sponsor of the show, which will be very exciting. We might have to call our guy Steve Zotke, who's at the Indy 500, not just to talk about that, but the tragic passing of Kyle Busch as well. That's really sad. 41 years old. We learned about an hour ago. NASCAR announced it. The family put out a statement. So if you missed that, sorry to break sad news to you. Sad news in the world of sports tonight. But we'll hear more from the racing world tomorrow. Road America. Bill will be there. We also might try to tap on Kevin Holden tomorrow on the midday show because he's down in Carolina. And the Eastern Conference Finals in hockey should be pretty juicy. I am pulling for the Hurricanes. Johnny Cribbage texted in earlier today, said I'm rooting for Montreal. I am not. I like Cole Caulfield. The Montreal Canadiens and their fan base just kind of represents. I don't have anything against Canada. I do think they like look down on us and are very snooty, not in all places, but in some. But one community in which that's very true is Canadiens fans. We speak French and we're above you. F off. Go Carolina. And then in the West, I don't know. I think I'm pulling for the Knights because screw the Avalanche. Oh, we have Cale Makar and Nate McKinnon. Oh. I have very arbitrary reasons for picking my hockey teams. Clearly, at least now that the Wild are done, that's the one geographic connection I guess we kind of have. Talk to you tomorrow, 4. Thanks for listening. Never miss a Friday show.